All right. Good afternoon and welcome back to Decision Points. This is our first episode with the new format. You see the little timer in the corner there. We'll reset that as we go. Yeah, we're going to be delivering the 10 most important stories from today to get you the information you need to understand what's going on in the world and identify opportunities to further yourself and improve the world. So, without further ado, let's break down the 10 stories that you need to hear about in 10 minutes. Okay, time on the clock. So, Israel announced that it will resume large scale airstrikes in Gaza, citing continued Hamas violations to the ceasefire agreement. Reports from Rafah and Khan Yunis describe renewed evacuations as civilians scramble to find safety amid power outages. The IDF has signaled a campaign aimed at decisive results, while regional mediators warn that this could unravel months of fragile diplomacy. The U.S. faces mounting pressure to balance support for Israel with growing domestic concern over humanitarian suffering. So as this conflict reignites, the question becomes whether global powers will keep feeding cycles of retaliation or finally demand a political endgame that values human life over strategy. Next up, Cambridge scientists create embryos capable of producing blood cells. So in a stunning breakthrough, scientists at the University of Cambridge have successfully grown a human embryo capable of generating blood cells, a feat that could revolutionize regenerative medicine. The embryo, developed without a sperm or egg, mimics early human development closely enough to produce stem cells that could one day treat cancers, autoimmune disorders, and organ failure. But with promise comes profound ethical tension. What boundaries should exist when creating synthetic life forms capable of self-organization? So the decision point here, as science accelerates faster than policy, society must decide whether it wants to limit these advances or risk letting those with resources rewrite the definition of life itself. Okay, next we have Hurricane Melissa. Hurricane Melissa has intensified to Category 5 and has exploded with sustained winds of over 160 miles an hour as it barrels towards Jamaica. The storm's rapid intensification stunned meteorologists who point to record ocean temperatures as the driving factor. Shelters are filling up across the island, and regional government are on high alert for catastrophic flooding and infrastructure collapse. The Caribbean, already battered by years of escalating storms, faces yet another test of resilience in a changing climate. The question now isn't whether climate is changing, but whether global systems built for the past century can withstand what's coming up in the next one. All right, beat the clock on that. Next up is Javier Milei claims a midterm victory in Argentina. This will be interesting to the libertarians out there. In Buenos Aires, Argentina's libertarian president Javier Milei has secured a decisive midterm victory, strengthening his hand to push through sweeping economic reforms. Milei's platform, cutting public spending, deregulating markets, and dollarizing the economy, has both thrilled investors and alarmed traditional institutions. Argentina's peso has rallied, but so has social tension, with unions warning of unrest if austerity deepens inequality. To his supporters, Milei represents a long overdue break from decades of corruption and stagnation. And as Argentina experiments with radical market freedom, the world watches to see whether bold reforms bring prosperity or deepen the divide between elites and the working class. Next up, Sudan's RSF militia seizes El Fasher. So some of you may be aware of this. This is another terrible genocide. That's the word. Going on, the war in Sudan has taken a devastating turn. The Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, which is a powerful paramilitary group, has seized control of El Fasher, the last major city in Darfur not already under their command. Human rights groups warn that hundreds of thousands of civilians are now trapped, with food and medicine running out. Communication has been cut and aid convoys remain blocked. For months, the world has looked away, but this moment may define the future of Sudan itself. When violence becomes invisible to the global community, it raises a haunting question. What determines which lives are worth saving? Next up, we have $130 million gift being paid by a reclusive billionaire to pay for our army during the shutdown. In an unprecedented move, reclusive billionaire Timothy Mellon from the Mellon dynasty has donated $130 million to cover the salaries of U.S. military personnel during the ongoing government shutdown. The contribution bypasses congressional gridlock, allowing troops to receive paychecks despite the budget impasse. While many praise the gesture, critics warn it sets a troubling precedent. Essential public services now depend on private wealth. The situation highlights a growing imbalance where billionaires fill gaps left by political paralysis. As private money props up public duty, America must decide whether democracy can survive when governance itself becomes a charitable act. Next up, Dubai. Oh, was I ahead? Oh well. Dubai advances global decentralization with tokenized finance push. Big news out of Dubai, a new chapter in global decentralization of finance, which is a topic of great interest to us. At the Dubai summit, the USD1 swap, they announced a strategic partnership with fintech leader Mova to launch a tokenized asset and cross-border digital payments platform. The move represents a profound shift away from centralized banking towards permissionless financial infrastructure that empowers individuals. Emerging markets stand to benefit the most, gaining new access to capital and independence from traditional institutions. As financial power redistributes globally, the choice ahead is clear: to adopt a decentralized system or remain subject to the old gatekeepers who controlled capital for generations, including the central banks. Next up. Okay. Decentralized finance surges as parallel economies grow. In another signal that decentralized finance is gaining unstoppable momentum, Terminal Finance, a decentralized exchange incubated by Athena, has already surpassed $280 million in total value locked, that's TVL, before its official launch. For those new to this space, a DEX lets people trade crypto assets directly with one another. No banks, no brokers, no middlemen. That 280 million isn't just a stat, it's a measure of trust, showing how quickly capital is migrated towards transparent, censorship-resistant systems. Okay. Next up, we got a problem with that we'll have to fix, but we'll just go with the same timer. EU is pushing for digital sovereignty to that would rival the US and China. The European Union unveiled a sweeping initiative to achieve digital sovereignty by reducing dependence on US and Chinese tech giants. Billions in new funding will flow into European AI, chip production, and cloud infrastructure. Brussels argues that it is essential for protecting privacy and industrial competitiveness, but it also signals a growing global fragmentation in the tech world. Europe's ambition to control its own digital destiny could reshape how data, innovation, and surveillance power are distributed worldwide. As nations race to own their technology stacks, the internet may splinter further, forcing individuals to choose between convenience and autonomy. Okay, next up. IMF warns of a global debt crisis. The International Monetary Fund has issued a stark warning. Global debt has climbed to levels unseen since World War II. Governments large and small are borrowing at record rates, driven by war spending, social programs, and inflation relief. Rising interest costs threaten to crush developing economies and strain even the strongest. Economists warn that the next global shock could come not from Wall Street, but from sovereign defaults rippling through the world's financial system. Okay, so that does it for October 28th, 2025. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We hope to see you tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time, and we'll break it down again.